Hello everyone and welcome to Tier 1. It's the second round of the season. We are here in Singapore for round 2 for the Singapore Grand Prix. Sorry for the little bit of a late delay with some other stuff myself. As we watch Lazy Bone go for a spin on the start of his hot lap and then crashes into SJR with a very unsafe re-entry and has left the session. So, first person on a lap, I think, is SLR Quattro, who is now heading through Sector 1. We'll see what happens with the Haas as the session goes on. Haas not having the best start of the season, could be having an even worse one as Quattro travels down the straight now, down towards turn 7 and now into turn 8. Some of the trickiest parts of the track now. The last time we raced here with a very experienced driver of Randro 17 show us around and winning from pole position, as SLR Quattro is absolutely flying through his lap as he heads through the old Singapore sling and now over the Anderson Bridge into turn 13, probably one of the most difficult corners in F1, and he's mastered that as well, and it's been a very smooth lap from the AlphaTauri so far, as now he heads up towards turn 14 and down the Raffles Avenue down towards turn 16, 17 chicane. So far so good from the AlphaTauri. They head now through turn 18, 19 and 20, some of the most awkward corners to try get around, but he's definitely getting around them in a fast pace. And SLR Quattro is back to set the first lap at 1:39.4. Quattro smashes it with a 1:36.7. Behind them, I think that's Lucas Paul just to go ahead. Then Arix Paulo into P2. Patish Hund followed by Skifan into P4 and P7. Then we have, I think, the Aston Martin of SJR. He's into the pits. There's another Aston Martin, I think, of Turkey Boy. Now Douglas heads around the final corner now. He's going to set a 1:37.7. So SLR Quattro's on another level at the moment. See if Owen Curry can do anything about that as he comes around the final corner and goes into P4. Vax also just a little bit slower. XD Harrison is also invalidated, but they're just going straight in now for another lap. And we'll keep an eye to see if anyone is going quick. At the moment so far it looks like it's only going to be Turkey Boys. We're right on board with his lap. Now his second run after his first was invalidated, as goes through turn 9 and heads down towards turn 10, the old Singapore sling, but obviously a lot easier, simplified since I think 2012, as now he heads over the Anderson Bridge and into turn 13, wrestles that Aston Martin through. Obviously his teammate SJR had a bit of problems going through, starting his lap with a Haas flying out in front of him. And at the moment, seeming like there'll be no problems with Turkey Boy's lap, although he seems to have to wrestle the car through parts of the track now, as he heads now underneath the grandstand and ends his lap with a bit of a spin, which is not going to help him out whatsoever. But Vax is also on a lap now, and he's hoping he doesn't run into traffic of Owen Curry, and I'm sure Owen Curry isn't going to hold him up, but we'll see now what the Mercedes can do. These two have yet to improve, or the two Mercedes have yet to impress so far, but we'll see now as they head through the final corners what can Vax do. Not a bad lap at all, P6. Behind them then XD Harrison with a decent lap to put him into the top 8, and 11 people have set a lap now. Techno Sizzle is also on a hot lap at the moment, along with Pigster. He's just going a little bit slower than the rest of the field. In the Ferrari, he's there full time now, and this is his second race in a row. Unfortunate not to get anywhere close to the points last week, but he should be able to get just a little bit closer this week. Here comes Pigster now to the line. The final few corners now. Where the Ferrari put the car. It's only going to be P10, but Techno Sizzle, can he go quicker? He seems to be sliding all over the place, and with his teammate in P1, it's going to be himself in only P12 ahead of Patish Hund. SJR finally out and finally on a hot lap. He has Big Loudy and Lucas Paul in front of him, or Big Loudy and I think Pigster in front of him. He's hoping that they don't hold him up much. Loudy gets out of the way, no problem indeed. As he heads now through turn 7, 8 and 9. Maneuvers his Aston Martin well throughout the track, and he should be one of the favourites for pole position here to challenge Quattro for the win. Obviously winning last time out, he should be good at that as he just scrapes the wall. Now going under the Anderson Bridge and down towards turn 13. A few yellow flags ahead. I think that could be one of the Alpines going slowly. I think that's Harrison, who's ran out of fuel, and he hope he doesn't get in the way of SJR, who's set 2 purple sectors so far and now heads into sector 3 with a lot to prove as he's now going through the, I think that's 13-14 chicane. No, sorry, the 16-17 chicane. Now as he drifts pretty much under the grandstand of turn 18-19, and then through the final part of the track, it's 20. He's done all the hard work now. It's just about getting the foot down and heading to the line. What can SJR do as he comes around the final corner and goes P2? Still though, 0.6 of a second off that amazing SLR Quattro lap. What an amazing lap indeed. So Arix Paulo is starting a lap. He's starting his second hot lap of the race. And we'll see now as he heads down the Raffles Boulevard. He's 2/10 up on his time. Now he needs the gap to the leader. He needs to gain over 6/10 to get up towards the leader, but maybe the Williams does have it in him. We'll see now. He's going to have to be pushed on by his teammate who's set a solid lap in P9, and they're hoping to score some points that they just missed out on last weekend. Paolo in P3 on a podium position at the moment. We'll see if he's on a podium position by the end of the day. As now he heads up towards the Raffles Avenue, down towards the 16-17 chicane now. It's been a clean lap so far from Paolo, and it should be on course to at least overtake SJR here, as he's about to overtake SJR, as SJR is the Aston Martin in front of him about to set a lap. But we'll see now, because he heads now through the final chicane and he's going to go round the final corner. Can Paolo improve? Can he challenge SLR Quattro? He will improve, but still a long way away from Quattro. Patish Hund seems to be going a little bit quicker this time as well. Where can he put the car? Up into P11. And Big Loudy is the same. He's on a lap at the moment. It's not a very quick one, but it's enough to put himself P15 and ahead of the lads that haven't set one yet. Next, that is 2 guys abandoning a lap. Turkey Boy definitely not abandoning any lap. He's going a little bit quicker here in the Aston Martin through the final corner. Final turns, it's P10 so far. Lucas Paul is abandoned his lap, and that's SLR Quattro behind him, who's 1/10 up and improves his advantage with an absolutely extraordinary time of 1:36.6. As Jackie Gabbana abandons his lap, but Douglas could just go a little bit faster. He's 2/10 down for now and is 1/10 up at the end of the lap, enough to go into P7. Looks like Pigster is on a flying lap, and behind him is, I think, Owen Curry. Pigster is only starting his, and Owen Curry is the first driver other than SLR Quattro to adventure into the 136s. Not a bad lap at all, and something that really is needed now to see if someone can at least get close to pole position, because it's been a dominant display so far from the AlphaTauri driver. I'll give this the chance to re-invite one of our drivers into the session. He's gone, and then I think everyone else is already in, so we'll watch, because I think that Ski Fan also on a lap. He's not, so we're just waiting now for Jackie Gabbana to finally come out now for an out lap. Otherwise, everyone else, when I look, Pigster is improving, but he invalidated. Turkey Boy seems to be going quite fast, but I think that's only just to come into the pit lane. Vax is improving on his time. I think he's the only one to really keep an eye on at the moment. It is, so we'll keep an eye on Vax then as he heads into sector 3 now. What can the Mercedes do? Can he improve? Can he get up? It's a real close gap between P4 all the way down essentially to P8 and the 137s. Only 2/10 separate them all, and a 2/10 improvement from Vax could put him up into the top 5 or maybe even the top 4, and if he's even quick enough, possibly into the top 3. But we'll see now, because the Mercedes is coming around the final corner now, and what can he do to improve on his time? It isn't a bad lap at all. He does improve by 4/10 and up into P4. A huge lap for the Mercedes driver, who pretty much cuts the whole first chicane and is having absolutely extraordinary time at the moment. Techno Sizzle sets a little bit of a quicker lap there, and Jackie Gabbana finally comes to the line to start his lap. Vax could get in trouble for this now, because he's clearly violating one of the rules and regulations by cutting the track to get back to the pits in time. And see whether or not he'll be punished for it. But XT Harrison is going to start his final flying lap, but we're right on board with, I think, Jackie Gabbana, who is well into his only flying lap at the moment, and it'll be his only flying lap of the session, the Red Bull. What an amazing debut for his Tier 1 after the Tier 2 champ won in last year. He won last year, the Tier 2 driver. He's into Tier 1 now in the same car that he won the championship, and he's hoping that he can get some great drives with it as well, as he finished P9 last time out in Portimao on his debut, and he's hoping to maybe even go even better. Aim for the stars, Jackie, as he heads now through the final sector. What can the Red Bull do as he glides his way through the final few corners? Can he improve by much? Can he get himself up into a good spot for tomorrow's race? Jackie Gabbana, it's only going to be P16. It's not a great lap at all. Pigster is improving. Or no, he's starting a lap, is he? Must be, Big Loudy, I think it's the exact same. He's only about to start a lap. We'll see now whether or not the two McLarens are. Yeah, Kofi seems to be just getting ready to start a lap. XD Harrison behind is, of course, on a lap, and it's his final lap of the session. And can he get just a little bit further into the points scoring positions to get himself just a little bit more comfortable for tomorrow. XD Harrison to the line, P6. What a great lap indeed. SLR Quattro starting his final lap, and I think that's Techno Sizzle who's finished with his. There's a load of traffic here, and they're just trying to find themselves just a little bit of space to do this lap. And you can see now, because the time is running out, and XD Harrison is retired from the session. On track, that's not a problem in qualifying, just as long as it doesn't get in the way of anyone's. Kofi's 2 tenths up on his time. Vax is out at the moment and he's desperately trying to make the line. There was no point of him coming out. He's definitely not going to make the line. As we see Harrison's car retire and Vax is finished qualifying. So we'll see first person to the line. I think that's Jackie Gabbana. Whether he's gone for another lap or not, we'll see now, because he's coming to the line now. The Red Bull, he's probably just going to go straight to the line. Will he improve on his time? I don't think he will. Ran out of ERS. And Pigster, he's retired from the session crucially, and I think that was, we'll see now, because Vax's AI is going to go through. Is he in a, oh, he is in a very awkward position, and I think that could be a big influence for Kofi. It is. Vax came out and Pigster retired, and Kofi's great run is going to have to come to an end. Now, will he get in the way of SLR Quattro? That's the important thing. He has to avoid all the debris, and I don't think Quattro is improving at the moment. We'll see now. Will Kofi get out of the way? He does. Everything seems to be okay for Quattro to improve and go into the 136.4s. It's going to take a lot of beating to do that, but can Oven Curry do it as he heads around the final corner? Oven Curry, it will improve, but not improve by enough. Lucas Paul is just a tenth down, as things just don't seem to be getting better on track. He can't improve. Ski Fan, can he improve? He can just go into the top 10. Douglas is just a tenth up. Can he get a little bit further and maybe get himself up into the top 5 as he invalidates on the final corner? And finally then, we have Turkey Boy, also 4 tenths up. And then finally Techno Sizzle, who's finished. What an amazing end to qualifying. Kofi so unlucky not to improve so much more. But with Pigster crashing out in that sector of the track. With Pigster retiring in that set part of the track, and then obviously Vax didn't make the checkered flag, so his car kind of just stopped, and Kofi hit into the back of him. So Quattro starts P1, Oven Curry P2, Paolo 3, Vax 4th. A great lap from Mercedes. SJR 5, Harrison 6, Kofi 7, Lucas Paul 8, Douglas in 9th, Ski Fan in 10th, but with a 5-place grid penalty means he'll be starting 15th. Turkey Boy 11th, Patishund 12th, Back 2 in 13th, Techno Sizzle 14th, Pigster 15th, Jackie Gabbana 16th, and Big Loudy will start in 17th position. So here we go for the race. So if we look through the tyres, it's the front row will be starting on mediums and the second row will be starting on hards. The rest are mediums apart from Douglas, Turkey Boy, Patish Hund, Techno Sizzle, Pigster, Ski Fan, Big Loudy, and then Lazy Bones AI is somehow still in the lobby. Oh, for fuck's sake. So Quattro leads the pack away from Movin Curry and Paolo, then Vax, SJR. It's unfortunate to see Ski Fan so far back despite starting P12. XD Harrison with his highest start in Tier 1, now in P6. Kofi behind him will put a lot of pressure on him down into Turn 1. We'll see whether or not these guys will survive. Vax is just going to have to hurry up just a little bit more. I think he's just about got within 10 car lengths and everything should be okay as they go to park their car now. Here comes the AlphaTauri lining up on the grid, and there goes a Williams very far wide, comes back onto the track, hits the barriers, resets. I don't know what Williams is that. I think that could be XD Harrison, who's all over the place. A few people have failed to park the car, and it looks like everyone has just seemed to get themselves lined up just there now. Here we go now to 5 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. Just kind of light glitch there. The lights are blank, the cars are moving, we're go, go, go here in Singapore, and what a start that is from, it looked like Paolo from right behind Quattro, but Quattro manages to take the lead, and Paolo in that 3rd position gets up and ahead of Oven Curry as everything seems to be clean so far at the back. The Mercedes doing well at the start and not dropping places, staying in Tier 4 or P4s. Quattro seems to be keeping up with everything. Lazy Bones finally, as AI is removed from the lobby. Patish Hund hasn't got the start to remember there, and at the moment everyone seems to be getting away very, very cleanly as we watch as Vax is getting it right on the back of Oven Curry, and XD Harrison's got by SJR off the start, and Kofi's kind of just remained places. Most people just remaining places off the start. Pigs are getting the best start of all, up 4 positions now, up into the point scoring positions as we watch as the cars now manoeuvre under the Anderson Bridge and try their best to just keep it clean so far. Everyone seems to be racing very, very side by side and clean with each other. There's a huge bit of battling at the back, and Big Loudy seems to have got by Techno Sizzle, and it looks like Patish Hund's got a great run on Techno Sizzle now, and to put him in his wing mirrors, Patish Hund's going to go down the inside and he's going to take the position. Techno Sizzle's going to try come back at him, and the Alfa Romeo is just going to have enough to stay ahead as we watch as Quattro is already now has a 2-second lead to the Williams of Paolo. What an amazing start it's been so far, as it looks like Harrison is going for it on Vax even before the straight, forced him a little bit wide, but an excellent overtake from Harrison, and it looks like Oven Curry is going to get back by Paolo into turn 1. Yes, he does, as Harrison is forced a little bit wide and has to maybe kind of yield now to Vax. These two going side by side, having an amazing battle now, down in towards turn 5 we go, and Harrison has got the position, and it's a Williams 3-4 at the moment. SJR probably got the best out of all that. Vax is coming back at him now. He's going to go down the inside. Can he stay with him? Forces him a little bit wide. Everything's still going clean. He's forced a little bit wide. He's hit the wall. He's hit the wall. Harrison spun round. Harrison is spun round. And it's not what Harrison wanted. He's hit the wall. Vax has lost places off the start. Vax seems to have had a bit of a problem himself. And Vax now has dropped all the places because of it. The battling was never going to end well. And it didn't end well for the two drivers here on lap 2. The two that qualified very well are now in P13 and P15. The gaps now have kind of stretched out 2 seconds, and it looks like Lucas Paul, who I always love to see having a great race, is in P6 at the moment, and I'm hoping to get maybe back on the podium for the first time since season 2. Quattro extends his advantage out in front. The gap remains at 2 seconds though, so Owen Curry isn't doing a bad job at all, and at the moment the gaps seem to be fairly even with each other. This is yellow flag, sector 3. Harrison goes round, and he's hit into a Patishund. He's tried to spin the car and he's hit in a Patishund. Resets the track. Harrison receives a penalty and Vax retires in the pit lane. Obviously drops places and doesn't believe he can make up any more positions. Other than that, he's retired in the pits and he's out of the session. Harrison could be in trouble with that little pirouette into the side of Patishund, especially if a Patishund got a little bit of front wing damage. He may want to give a bit of interest into it. We'll see whether or not he does. Lucas Paul is gaining on the McLaren of Kofi. It's going to hope to see if he can get by him soon. We're on lap 3 of 31 here at the moment, and we have lost 2 runners. Well, only one runner so far, because Lazy Bones was a lazy boy and didn't run, but I'm sure he'll be back for next race and he'll be flying it. Lucas Paul currently in P6, hoping to get by the McLaren soon. But another person gaining is SJR, championship leader after the win in round 1, and he's hoping to take at least a podium here off the Aston Martin. He needs to finish P2 with Quattro not having a fastest lap, or P2 with a fastest lap, and if Quattro remains on his pace, SJR will win or will stay on the top of the championship, as Paolo seems to be under a little bit of pressure here now from SJR, who gets a good exit, and with DRS now should be able to fly by. Now Paolo has a lot of ERS and isn't using it, but he's probably going to use it now. Is he going to try to defend? He doesn't defend, and SJR goes down the inside and gets up into the podium places. A great overtake from the Aston Martin. And we'll look now on the tyres to see whether or not people have came into the pits. XT Harrison has came into the pits. It's going to serve as a 5-second penalty, and it's going to have a front wing change. It's a fairly short pit lane now, the one in Singapore. It's definitely not one people like, but it's definitely one you're just going to have to deal with. It's very tricky pit entrance and exit, as Quattro seems to still just be gaining on his time. Owen Curry is just kind of staying with him in case any sort of safety car mistake bounces in his favour. 4 laps through this Grand Prix now, and it is Quattro who still leads the way. A bit of a train here now between Kofi, Lucas Paul and Paolo. Don't know what happened to Paolo, as it looks like Techno Sizzle had a bit of problems there, or maybe it was Ski Fan. Techno Sizzle got by him, but at the moment it's Jackie Gabbana yet again up into P10. The Tier 2 driver back into the point scoring positions for the second race running, as SJR is unleashing a bit of pace now, and as he got by Paolo, he's now set the fastest lap of the race. Front 3 drivers all on mediums, so he'll pit a bit sooner. And Paolo, maybe that's why he didn't put up much of a fight, and maybe that's why he's holding up the guys at the moment, because the medium tyres are coming into show now, and are showing why now. They're probably the better race tyre, but Paolo is going long, and he's going for a long overcut on these guys in case his late safety car comes out. But he isn't really putting up much of a fight, because when the cars get a run down the Raffles Boulevard, they pretty much just overtake him, and Kofi's done that there, and he's up in the P4. Next behind Paolo is Lucas Palm. We'll see whether or not the Ferrari driver is going to try and get by him as soon as he can. We'd love to see Lucas Palm battling at the front again for championships, but at the moment that seems to be quite impossible. But when will he try and launch a move on the Williams, who's always having a poor time? And that's why you need to be a bit more patient, because Lucas Paul has got on the power just a little bit too early and has spun the car. And he's only lost one position from it, and he hasn't hit the barriers. But that is just why you don't be impatient like the Ferrari was there. And Alex Paolo will definitely be smiling under that helmet as he gets to keep P5 for just a little bit longer. So back 2 seems to be showing a bit of pace. The Tier 2 driver, current Tier 2 driver, reserving for Randro 17, is absolutely flying it at the moment, and we'll see now whether or not he can get past the Ferrari of Pigster. Obviously him on the better tyres. Pigster will be going longer, so will be a bit slower, and he is derating, but I think both of them are pretty much derating. The ERS management isn't great from these two. Pigster having a good race at the moment up in the P8. How long will he have that P8 with the raging Alpine right behind him? As back 2 definitely gets a really good exit now, and with DRS and only a little bit of ERS, he's going to try and get a move done here now. They bang tyres, they head down into turn 7, they bang tyres again, but at the end of the corner, back 2 is in front and up in the P8. A good lap, a good drive so far from the Tier 2 Williams driver, as Big Loudy picks him a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and I don't know whether or not that means he will be retiring or not. He's in for a front wing change anyway, and a set of soft tyres go on the Haas car. And Techno Sizzle has problems down there at the Anderson Bridge, and has dropped a few positions. Pigs are the first driver to pick up a 3-second penalty for track limit warnings. Only 6 laps into the race, that's not a good sign at all. Loudy and Harrison the only other two to pick up penalties so far, and Harrison has already served his. As we watch more yellow flags, and that's a pack of shun down at the start finish straight. Guys at the back definitely are struggling. Turkey Boy seems to be the only one with decent pace at the moment at the back, and maybe that could come in useful towards the end of the race. He's just unfortunate with, I think, the wing damage he got at the start, but he might be able to make just a little bit of a bigger overtake, or a bit of an undercut when the pit stop rounds come around. Pigster seems to still be continuing to battle with back 2, and we're on lap 7 of this Grand Prix now. Almost a third of the way through, and Pigster trying to get back by, and back 2 seems to now be struggling with those medium tyres, both with very, very little ERS. And Pigster, will he try it here? He's going to try go late on the brakes. He is. He's going to have a little bit of contact, but in the end, back 2 keeps his line good, and he manages to stay in front into the 16-17 chicane now. The Ferrari trying to get by the Alpine. We've seen this before, a lot of times before. and we'll see whether or not he will get by or not. As back 2 also picks up a penalty, so the 2 people battling for P8 have picked up penalties. So that means that they may not be able to battle for much more positions if a safety car comes out later in the race. We're 8 laps in, and back 2 is still in front. Keep an eye as Jackie Cabana is the first person to make an actual pit stop that's not for a front wing change. He's in for the hard tyres for the next few laps of this race, and here comes now Pigster with a bit of DRS. He's going to start to gain on back 2, but I don't think he's going to gain enough to get a move done, and he's going to just have to sit behind the Alpine just for a little bit longer. Gap in the front runners seem to be kind of evening out a bit. It's still, I think, it's still SJR with that one fastest lap, which I'm sure he will be very pleased with. He won't mind having that fast lap and sitting behind, as it looks like Kofi's also picked up a 3-second penalty, something he was notorious for with last race as well. So XD Harrison now heads down into turn 1. I think there was yellow flags there, and that could have been for a Patachund. Alfa Romeo definitely not having the start of the season they want, and a Patachund especially, with 2 non-classified, with 1 non-classified finish so far, and more than likely on course for another if things don't change down in the Sauber garage. So we'll switch back to the only battle on track at the moment. That's Pigster and back 2, and we'll see how long this lasts before an absolute catastrophe happens between these 2. We know how aggressive both can be, and one being tier 2, you could see a bit of inexperience, but at the moment it's the tier 2 driver on top. Pigster struggling to get used to that Ferrari like he did with the Alfa Romeo when he was in that. And although he's 6 seconds ahead of the Alfa Romeo, we'll see how much longer that will be for before they catch up and get within the 3 seconds that they so dread that they don't get in. But at the moment, Pigster gaining on back 2, but it's just way too far back to make a move. I don't know how much longer I can commentate on this before my throat goes, because I'm just constantly talking to see whether or not these 2 can get by. And I don't know if he will or not. So they're very, very close this time. It's all just about getting that better exit, and he seems to be burning ERS. He's trying to overtake at every single opportunity possible, but with those mediums tyres now starting to wear and the pit window comes into consideration soon, I think he needs to just build up a little bit of an ERS energy source, as that is a Patachund backwards at turn 5. And I don't know whether or not it'll be time for him to call it quits. Himself and Laudy are getting very, very close to the leaders of Quattro, and they'd want to get out of the way as soon as possible. But this battling continues, and this battling means that they are almost creating one of the largest gaps on track within the points, which is 9 seconds between himself and Lucas Paul. Gives Lucas Paul a bit of a cushion as he loves this track and is going to start now to gain on Douglas and hopefully get back up into the top 6 and challenge for the top 5. I just want to know whether or not there's safety cars on this. I know there hasn't been much collisions, but I just want to know, because there was none yesterday, that safety car is on standard. So there hasn't been a safety car yet, and here's Pigster again, absolute 0 ERS. Back 2 is starting to be a bit smarter now. He's starting to gain just a little bit of ERS and just not deploying it when he knows he doesn't need to. Because although he doesn't see the red light of Pigster, I think he almost knows that he has 0 ERS. But look how close Pigster is to him now. He's desperate to try get by now, as he was overtaken a few laps ago. He's trying to re-overtake, and now we're a third of the way through this Grand Prix, and it's still the Alpine that's been in front for the majority of it. And it's about time as he flies over the curb, and at the moment they're still just racing a mere metre away, as that's Douglas. Douglas has spun. He's spun the car, and that is crucial. Lucas Paul's got through. Patachund's retired in the pit lane. I knew his race may come to an end soon, but Douglas spins out, and that could maybe open up a possible gap now for Jack 2 to have a bit of interest into. SJR is the first driver to call it quits and come in for a pit stop. I don't know whether or not anyone will follow him. Lucas Paul doesn't. Douglas may, after that little spin he had down at turn 14, but he won't. Pigster has gained just a little bit more ERS here. With DRS, he's going to start to gain down the straight. Now both of them are starting to kind of harvest a little bit more energy, and SJR comes out in a good position just behind the two of them and in front of Pigster or Skifan. I'm guessing that is hoping where he wants to be, because he has now a 2-second gap in front of him to get just a little bit closer to these guys, and with them continuing to battle, it shouldn't be longer before he is up close and he's able to overtake, because SJR will have an all-round huge amount of speed over these two drivers, as we are 11 laps into this Grand Prix. A delayed start, but no delays, unlike Portugal with lobby settings or miss invite. Everything went to plan as soon as we pressed ready up, and at the moment it's been a very, very interesting race, and especially to watch these two drivers battle right throughout, and we'll see whether or not they'll come out in front. I think Back 2 has a TikTok where he likes to post. I don't know if that's him or Loudy. It could be Big Loudy, but I'm sure he'll be loving watching all this screen time he's getting at the moment with his defending of Pigster, the Ferrari driver, and currently running in P7. We'll see how much longer the medium runners will go. Quattro stays out, Curry stays out, Kofi stays out, Big Loudy's been lapped, Paolo also stays out, Lucas Paul doesn't seem to be slowing up, so he stays out. Well, just before we get close, we'll see if Douglas, he's also going to stay out. So it looked like maybe SJR was struggling with pit lane with some tyre temps, or either that, or he's just going for a huge undercut here on the front runners, which could be beneficial if a safety car doesn't come out. Now here's SJR, probably the biggest ERS out of the two of these, and he's going to hopefully try pick them off one by one and not get held up. He was already gained 2 seconds, but he doesn't want to lose more time, and at the moment he's just waiting behind. He sees the red light flashing now, surely, and I think he's going to get alongside and ahead of him already now. Whether or not he's going to get by Back 2 as well, he's already ahead of Pigster. Pigster may try come back at him. SJR is going to just squeeze in between the both of them at the moment, and he'll wait for his opportunity to make the move on Back 2. Maybe that opportunity is right now. A little bit of contact on the rear left as they go side by side, and another switchback from SJR. What an absolute overtake that is, and he's up into P7, putting a little bit of pressure, and that means that Pigster will be able to get alongside as well. They go so close to the barriers. Pigster with the huge overtake there. Loads of balls, gets around the outside and stays, or gets back up into P8, and now that also has invited Skifan back into the battle. And these two with the 3-second penalty means that they are essentially racing in position for this, and Skifan with 81% DRS should be able to put a huge battle on the two of these guys. And all this battling and trying to hold up SJR hasn't worked, because SJR has breezed by them with that amazing overtake out of turn 9, and now it looks like Skifan is going to be right up on the back and is going to try and get by Back 2. So Back 2 could possibly lose out most because of all this. At the moment, none of the front runners still have come in. We're 13 laps of this race, and it's still, we're quite level at the moment. Back 2 is going to try his best to possibly get close to Pigster, but our Abu Dhabi race winner last year will have the experience on how to overtake. That's Big Loudy having problems and has spun out. Another 3-second penalty for Back 2 as Skifan is gaining. He's using his huge supply of ERS, and he's going to get miles by him before the braking zone even happens. A little bit of a lock-up, maybe just to slow down the car. He is in front. Now they want to watch out because the Haas right round the corner here, luckily off the racing line, and has a huge gap of 20 seconds to get himself set and away, and we'll see whether or not he's going to crown to the pits and maybe just retire the car, because things haven't been going to plan for the Haas driver. He tries to spin his car once again. And heads down towards turn 10 now. Techno Sizzle in the wake, and that's SLR Quattro into the pit lane. So Owen Curry takes the lead of the race momentarily. It's going to be Kofi to follow him. Harrison or Paolo stays out as expected. Lucas Paul, lap 13, is also going to make the pit stop. I think Douglas will stay out on the hards. Now SLR Quattro, wow, that is some gap he got himself there, because he's miles ahead of SJR, and he's even out ahead of Douglas, who hasn't pitted yet. Now there's more yellow flag sector 2. It seems to be Loudy down there going extremely slow, and I think maybe he's just going to try to stay out of harm's way and curl it back to the pits, because he's been lapped by everyone now. SJR a lot close now to the Red Bull, and SJR on the fresher hard tyres should be able to get by. As he tries to stick it round the outside, again tries to switch back. Turkey Boy's disconnected. I'll try to get him back in, but first we're going to watch SJR, who's going to try the same thing he tried on back 2. Now obviously Douglas a little bit more experienced, a race winner himself, and podium sitter in, I think it was Abu Dhabi as well, so he should know how to defend this position in a nice way. But it's SJR with the huge balls, trying to go down the inside there, but gets on the curb just a little bit too much and has to settle at the moment just for P5. As Loudy, with no front wing, curls his way into the pit lane, enters the pit lane, and retires more than likely from the session. Owen Curry is in. Loudy retires. Alex Paolo's going to go by for the lead of the race. The first time the Williams driver leads a Grand Prix. Now, it's actually going to be very close between Owen Curry and Quattro. And we see now Owen Curry on our inside there. Quattro's by, and the pit limiter just came a little bit too late for Owen Curry. And SLR Quattro is just a good bit by him at the moment. We'll switch back to Aston Martin versus Red Bull duo, the Red Bull battle you could say, because of Aston Martin and their constant copying of Red Bull. But at the moment it's looking like Aston Martin will be on top. SJR is going to go round the outside before the straight even starts, and an excellent overtake to get himself into P4, and now he's going to hope to get a little bit more of an undercut on Paolo before he comes into the pits in a few laps time. They went 13 laps, so more than likely he should come in around lap 18, as back 2 is into the pits to put on his pair of hard tyres. And now we're pretty much halfway through this Grand Prix. Harrison and back 2 in a little bit of a battle. Back 2 trying to warm up his tyres. Harrison on those tyres for 11 laps already since his lap 2 collision, or his, well, not his lap 2 collision, lap 2 spin, and then his lap 4 collision, and he is, or lap 3 I think it was. And now he's going to try and defend from his friend from tier 2. Kofi gaining on Ski Fan. Pigster still yet to come into the pits. Quattro improves his advantage in the fastest lap, goes with a 140.813, and that is an amazing lap. Some drivers didn't even set that in qualifying. He's setting that on the hard tyres in the race, as Kofi now has DRS, has a lot of ERS, and is going to go for the move down into turn 1. Not many drivers make an overtake into turn 1. Kofi has now, and he's up into P6. Not a bad move at all from the McLaren driver. Back 2 is going to start to gain a little bit more on his friend on the fresh tyres now. He should be able to get a little bit closer, hopefully, and get by him maybe on the Raffles Boulevard, but he's not even going to get by him by an overtake. He's going to go because Harrison is into the pits. Jackie Gabbana, his undercut and the soft tyres hasn't quite worked for now. Actually, better hope try to get Turkey Boy back into the session. Oh, no, that's the wrong driver. There we go. Jackie Gabbana getting a little bit closer now to Turkey Boy, and he's going to hope to try get the move done now. Turkey Boy's back in the session, so he's going to take control of his car very, very soon. We can see how early his AI is braking. That's Douglas into the pits a little bit early. Oven Curry crucially picks up a 3-second penalty, and now I'm going to see how SJR's pace will he get a little bit closer to the McLaren now and get the podium off him, or possibly the P2 off him. We'll soon find out about that. It's been a dominant drive from Quattro so far. As battles on track seem to be kind of starting to ease off a little bit. Back two. He's going to go down the inside of Turkey Boy. He's going to force him a little bit wide. Going to try go down the inside. Turkey Boy going to try and stay with him. And he is going to stay with him. And he's going to keep hold of P12. He's now back in control of his car, because there's no way an AI is going to defend like that. An excellent defending it is from Turkey Boy. But both drivers still trying to now defend their position yet again. Back two is going to go down the inside. Turkey Boy is going to go for the old switcheroo and going to try and stay. He's going to maybe do the same thing again, but back two seems to just have the better traction on the nicer tyres. It's going to be able to get by him. That's Alex Paolo now into the pit lane, so Oven Curry will fly by him right now, and more than likely it looks like SJR, possibly even Kofi too, will get by him. So that's our podium at the moment. We'll see how quickly SJR can gain on Oven Curry and maybe take the P3 off him, but at the moment he is losing time, giving Oven Curry a little bit of a gap. Kofi also gets through Paolo's now, as I predicted, lap 18 into the pits for the medium tyres till the end of the race. Skifan gets by him and he's in the quick battle with Skifan and Lucas Paul, and Lucas Paul is going to go right round the outside of him, and Skifan who's still yet to pit means that Lucas Paul is essentially in P5 at the moment, and now gaining on the Alfa Romeo, and is now going to go down the inside into the Raffles Boulevard, where all the overtakes have been made pretty much so far, other than a few in a bit of odd locations. But Lucas Paul is passed and into P5. This could be one of his best results in a long time. I think he got P4 in, I think it was Monza last season, or I think it was some other track last season. He got P4. At the moment he's in P5, and if something happens up front he may get close to the podium, but at the moment he's just a little bit further back away, about 12 seconds away from SJR. Alex Paolo, fresh out on the new medium tyres, will be putting pressure on Lucas Paul soon, and he'll also be putting pressure on Skifan soon. And when will Skifan curl into the pits and hopefully get out ahead of possibly Jackie Gabbana? Down in P10, that's where the Alfa Romeo hopes that he can come out, in the round where Douglas is at the moment. We'll see when they do come into the pits. Hopefully they don't, because they're creating a very interesting battle at the moment, and after that I think things will start to die down just a little bit more. But that is the end of Skifan's first stint, a very, very impressive stint from Skifan. Got himself into P5 at one stage and is now going to get himself into the pit lane. Pigster's going to stay out and go by him. He's up in the P7. Douglas the same, he's already pitted and on the fresh mediums is absolutely flying it at the moment, and has set his fastest lap of the race, but not the fastest lap of the race, and he's out of the pits in P9, comfortably ahead of Jackie Gabbana, and should get ahead of Pigster as well. Pigster is setting one of the most impressive stints in the whole race. He's almost gone 20 laps on those mediums now. And the man who started in P7 or in P14 has now got himself up into P7, so not a bad race at all from him. The only driver yet to make a pit stop other than Techno Sizzle, who's also now into the pit lane and puts on the medium tyres. It's an AlphaTauri sandwich at the moment, and Techno Sizzle hasn't released, and it looks like he's going to be lapped by his teammate. So it's definitely not been a race to remember for the other side of the AlphaTauri garage. The other side of that AlphaTauri garage are probably raving at the moment, because in 11 laps time they could be celebrating a first ever win for the team in CTCR. At the moment, Paolo gaining on Lucas Paul on the fresh mediums. He should be able to get by. Is he going to do it down to turn 1 with the amount of overspeed he has? He set the fastest lap of the race, and down into turn 1 there goes Paolo up into P5, and that is the end of Pigster's stint, so Douglas should get by him. And Ski Fan should get by him too, as we watch the Alfa Romeo come around the final corner. It's going to be quite close, but it looks like he will get by, and I think the Ferrari driver just will get ahead of Jackie Cabana as well as he goes round turn 1, and that is definitely where he wanted to be, P9 at the moment, and hopefully can get a little bit quicker now that he's on those medium tyres to the end, can go a little bit quicker ahead of back 2 and Jackie, and get at least ahead 3 seconds, is it? Yeah, 3 seconds ahead. Back 2 at 6 seconds means he's going to have to go a lot faster than Jackie in order to get into the points. And with 11 laps to go, that is very, very unlikely. Jackie Cabana, I think, just wants to stay put. He has a 20-second gap behind him. Who's XD Harrison, only starting the Raffles Boulevard now. And he is hoping that he's going to be able to stay just within 6 seconds of back 2 with his older tyres, and come for a comfortable P10 as Paolo sets an even faster lap, and may in a few laps time just try and get in behind Kofi, maybe in behind those 3 seconds and up into P4. That's all maybe that he wants, but there's no battles at the moment as Kofi has left the session. Crucially, I'll try to get him back in as quickly as possible. I probably should have done the same for Turkey Boy, but it definitely makes a lot more sense to try get the driver who was in P4 other than the driver that was in P14. I think he's rejoined. Hope he has. Sent him an invite there just in case. And it's Paolo now on the mediums, going to get a lot closer while Kofi's in AI mode. 10 laps to go. 6 seconds is the gap between Oven Curry and Quattro. And just watching this display from Quattro is honestly amazing. We're right on board here with one of his laps just to show how this guy is gaining such a fair gap to the rest of the field at the moment. These are possibly his laps that he's been setting all race. Kofi back in, but unfortunately 2 seconds to Paolo, and Kofi's into the pits. His AI is pitted. That is definitely not what he wanted. He's came into the pits. He's almost ruined his race here. He's put on the soft tyres, and maybe that could have been tactical, because he's going to come out ahead of Douglas with a lot of work though. No, he's going to come out behind Douglas. A lot of work. There's no way that was tactical, because Eric's Paolo isn't really a rival at the moment, so his AI well and truly has screwed him here. But all happy days for Paolo, who's up in the P4 now, without even having to make an overtake. We'll watch one of the battles for now, and we'll ride back on board with Quattro for another lap in a few moments' time. There's no battles to look upon as Lucas Paul picks up a 3-second penalty, which means that his chance of a possible podium, if a late safety car comes out, is null and void. That is XD Harrison, who's gone off and has been overtaken by Turkey Boy for P12. Great qualifying from Harrison. He's going to have to work at his race pace if he wants to score those first points of the season. It's another non-classified finish more than likely for the Williams driver. He'd also want to cool down his tyres as well before he spins it yet again. And he also hopefully doesn't want to be lapped. Techno Sizzle running pretty much for practice at the moment in P14, trying to stay ahead of SJR for just a little bit longer. SJR kind of in cruise control now with his worn tyres. He still has to go another 8 laps on them, which would be an incredible stint to do on those hard tyres, and he's going to just have to do that. And with Paolo closing in, we'll see who will get the podium by the end of the race. Quattro still leads the way. No yellow flags as of now. The gap to everyone on the field is very, very well spread, and it means that nobody is battling nobody at the moment. The closest person to a driver is SJR to Techno Sizzle. That's yellow flags, and that's Harrison. He's gone round, and he's gonna have to soon now get out of the way for SLR Quattro. Oh, he hits the wall. Now, and Paolo's also left the session, where seems to be having trouble now with drivers leaving the session. Oh, and that's Harrison flying into the pit lane there. Oh, and he's hit into someone. Who's he hit into? Is that Owen Curry? He has, and that's twice now. Owen Curry has been hit by a back marker, and XD Harrison could be in a lot of trouble because he's flown into the pit lane there carelessly, and he's hit into Owen Curry, and whether he's got damage or not, I don't know. SJR is into the pit lane. He believes he's enough of a gap to maybe come in and get on the soft tyres. I don't know whether or not that's a connection issue and he's lagged out too, or maybe that was tactical from the Aston Martin driver. Maybe those tyres just won't go till the end. He'll come out, surely this time he'll come out ahead of Douglas. Or maybe not. And Douglas gets by, and Kofi probably will get by as well. Kofi sets the fastest lap. First driver to adventure into the 1:39s after the race. And SJR, I don't know what he's doing with his championship at the moment here. Lucas Paul, all of a sudden now, if Alex Paolo doesn't get back into the session quick, could snatch a podium here, because he's running P4 with a big gap away from Douglas, and could, for the first time since season 2, get a podium. That's a Red Bull who's spun out. It's Jackie Gabbana down at turn 1. There seems to be no debris, and no one, amazingly, has hit the barriers and crashed yet. But we'll watch now as Lucas Paul tries to get by Alex Paolo as quick as he can and get 3 seconds ahead. I try and get him back into the lobby to give him every chance of staying ahead, despite how much I love Lucas Paul to get a podium here. We'll see whether or not he does or not. 6 laps left, and with Paolo still in AI, the gates are lit open for Lucas Paul. Now hopefully he doesn't screw it over like he has in the past. Harrison finally decides to call it quits. He tried the lap before and almost got in trouble. Could possibly get in trouble for it if Owen Curry investigates. Here's Lucas Paul now gaining on the Williams, and he's so patient with it now, but he's so slow. Oh, he's spun, he's hit him, he has been hit by the AI. I don't think he's got any damage though, and he is definitely getting very, very shaky now because he knows a podium's on here, and if he just be a little bit more careful, he should definitely be able to do it. And now he's going to look to go down the inside. Can he do it? Kofi's retired from the session in the pit lane. I don't know why he's done that. Maybe he's had to leave the session or something like that. But that's the end of the McLaren drivers race, which gives Jackie Cabana again another one. Turkey Boy's retired, this time on track. That could be a safety car. It is a safety car. Ooh, he's retired in the place where Crashgate happened. Now whether or not that is for Crashgate, because look at where SJR is at the moment. But he has picked up a 3-second penalty. Many others have. And now it's all down now. We've only 11 runners left. Amazingly. Now Quattro I think has built up maybe a bit of a gap. He has going to come into the pits. That means Oven Curry I think will get track position anyway. Oven Curry also comes into the pit lane. And I think most drivers will. Now whether Lucas Paul will stay out or not, that is the question. They need to stay to their Delta. SLR Quattro onto the sauce. It's going to be a sprint race till the end here. Paolo stays out. Crucially, Lucas Paul does as well. That gives Douglas possibly the opportunity to come in, or whether or not he will. I don't know. His 8-lap mediums should be able to do just a little bit more. Harrison's left the session, and these last few laps have been absolutely crazy. Douglas goes over the pit lane, but will allow it because it's a very tricky pit lane to manoeuvre anyway. Steve Fan stays out. Douglas is going to drop back a little bit further. Oven Curry has been overtaken by Lucas, along with Paolo. This could be a very, very interesting end to this race. Pigster, P8. He's going to come into the pit lane too. Back two should be the same. Jackie Cabana already on the softs, and Techno Sizzle has been lapped by his teammate and is sitting behind his teammate at the moment. And that could just be enough for him to give his teammate a little bit of a gap before he lets the cars through on the safety car restart. First safety car of the season, and what a time for it to come out. Very interesting towards the end of this race. Wait for Jackie Cabana, who's the furthest away, to catch up. Douglas should be next to approach the car soon. A load of soft tyres we see on at the moment. Turkey Boy's left the session. He doesn't want to watch this finale. 4 laps to go, so Jackie's going to have to hurry up just a good little bit now in order to catch up and we get going. More than likely at the end of lap 29. Pigster had to come into the pits again because I think he had a front wing change. Back 2 could be the exact same. Back 2's retired. That is very weird. Means that if Techno Sizzle finishes the race, he will finish P10. So we have 10 finishers at the moment, and whether or not there'll be 10 finishers after the safety car is definitely going to be the question to be answered. But back to, for his potential first Tier 1 points finish, has decided to retire and leave the session. We're at 10:30 or 8:30 now, just a little bit longer than we would have liked, but Singapore's a long race and it's going to end luckily with a bit of interest, other than just watching the AlphaTauri driver of Quattro cross the line to win. But it looks like he will cross the line to win, because he has his teammate in the gap between, and a fresh set of soft tyres between himself and Paolo. So still waiting for Jackie Cabana. Seems to be going a little bit slower, and Pigster as well. And I don't think the safety car will be in any rush to come in this lap, which means that Quattro gets another lap that he doesn't have to defend. And that's Techno Sizzle into the pit lane. So he has got out of the way, and that might not be a great idea for his own teammate. Techno Sizzle is just going to come in, I'd say, for the soft tyres. Maybe just to hold the safety car out even a little bit longer. I don't even know, but he will come out ahead of Pigster, or behind Pigster, more than likely ahead of Jackie Cabana. So Quattro thought he had the gap to Paolo, and although Paolo is on mediums, he may be a bit more aggressive as well. He thought he had the gap, it turns out he didn't. Many people have a 3-second penalty, which could maybe bring Douglas or Ski Fan into the occasion as far as getting the race win. As we watch the cars now, it should be in this lap, because Jackie Cabana is only a mere 20 seconds away now, and is only, I keep on forgetting the name of that corner, the Raffles Boulevard away from them. So Quattro will have lap 29, 30 and 31 to try and stay ahead. It's a 3-lap race till the end. Many drivers on softs, 2 on mediums, and Lucas Paul stayed out on the hards, and he's going to try and defend his position, crucially, to get his first podium since season 2, his first podium in the new era of F1 cars, back in the Ferrari. It could be Ferrari delight for Lucas Paul. Safety car in this lap as we enter sector 3. Jackie Cabana just has one more corner to get up and get close to head through the Raffles Avenue now, as they try and get heat into those tyres. Lucas Paul want to definitely try and do that, because those tyres not only are wearing but also are very, very hard to heat up. But as we look, as Jackie Cabana sees cars in the distance and is right behind him, it's now all down to Quattro to see when he will go. We're right on board with Paolo to see how he gets his restart sorted and when Quattro will go. He's going to wait as long as he can to try and catch the Williams off guard. Quattro goes. It's not a bad start. It's not a great start now for Lucas Paul, who's being swarmed by many drivers at the back. Paolo trying to keep heat into those tyres. Lucas Paul manages to keep it, but goes a little bit wide and could be under pressure. Well, watch, as it looks like people at the front are getting well by. Ski Fan's going to try his luck here on SJR. He doesn't have the tyres, but he has no penalty, so he's going to try and stay in front. Oven Curry is well on the back of Lucas Paul now. He's going to try and maybe go for the move down into turn 7. Will he get it done? He's going to lay on the brakes. He's going to try get it done. He does get it done. And Lucas Paul's forced just a little bit wide. He's going to have the inside line now, as SJR is going to try around the outside. SJR gives him a little bit of contact and he's off and he's hit into the barriers, but he's managed to stay with it. SJR goes around the outside. Lucas Paul now dropping down to P5. Here goes Douglas. He's on the soft compound tyres. He doesn't have any penalties at all. If he keeps it up, he could be well and truly with it in with a chance, but he gets a bit of oversteer and loses some positions. Jackie Gabbana. It's a Red Bull battle at the moment, and Douglas is gonna, or Jackie Gabbana is gonna have to just yield and let them by. Whether it was an illegal overtake or whatever it was, something happened that just wasn't right for Jackie Gabbana. Owen Curry putting the pressure on Alex Paolo to try and maybe put some pressure on Quattro. Quattro's already got a 2-second gap. This is domination at its best, just like Randro did 2 seasons ago. Absolutely dominated this track, and he is well and truly dominating it now as we start the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Can Owen Curry get Paolo Dunn on track here as he starts to get close to him? Lucas Paul is just a bit of a gap to Douglas, and maybe not coming into the pits could have been a bit crucial for the Ferrari driver, because he could lose out big time here in the end because of it all. Owen Curry and SJR will also try and battle, because SJR wants to get onto that podium and get as close as he can to his championship rival. Quattro is going to take the lead of the championship as he's now gained almost a 3-second gap, and he's going to look at Paolo there. He's collided with him. Oh, and they've had a big crash, and Paolo's out of the race, and I think all 3 of them have had contact, and that could be absolutely crucial. Owen Curry collides with Paolo. Paolo crashes, and he's out of the race. On the penultimate lap of this race, it's heartbreak for the Williams driver. And what it was, a very, very relaxed race. As soon as Turkey Boy retired, became an absolutely chaotic one. And now we only have 9 finishers, as now Ski Fan has retired from the session after a collision, I think, with possibly Pigster at the back. This is absolutely crazy stuff. 8 finishers at the moment, and if things go well, it could possibly mean Lucas Paul on the podium. We really don't know at this stage. At the moment, we're looking at SLR Quattro now back up to his 6-second gap ahead, and it looks like Owen Curry's all over the place. Even on those fresh softs, he seems to be struggling to keep them even in good shape, as Quattro sets the fastest lap of this race and has a 7-second gap to Owen Curry behind. Owen Curry may have a bit of front wing damage. I think SJR definitely does, as Paolo has left this session. Lucas Paul is now going to try and defend from Douglas for as long as he can. If we look at penalties, things just don't seem to be going the way of them. SJR, I think, may just sit in behind Owen Curry at the moment, because Owen Curry could be at fault for the collision with Paolo there, and SJR could be in a whole lot of good news to take P2 off of him. But Techno Sizzle has done his job. He's stayed in the race. He's got by Alex Paolo and Skifan, who still will score points, the 2 of them, because I think it says it on it. If you finish within 3 laps of the race, if you DNF within there, it technically means you do finish the race, so you will get full points, or I think it's 75% or it's something like that. But if you don't have DNF registered on your name at the end of the race, you do get the points. But as we enter the final stage of this race, it's been SLR Quattro's dominant drive, just like Randro 17 did in Season 2. He's dominated this race from start to finish, and as he heads through the final chicane now, it's going to be AlphaTauri delight, as for the first time in RSL history, Quattro rounds the final corner and wins the Singapore Grand Prix. What a race from the AlphaTauri driver. And in the background, we watch Owen Curry finish P2 and SJR in P3. It's going to be Lucas Paul P4, but jumped by Douglas and then by Pigster. Behind then, we have Jackie Gabbana and Techno Sizzle come to the line for 7 and 8. What a race. It's definitely AlphaTauri's who've got the best out of it, even with Techno Sizzle being lapped by the whole field. He still finishes P8 and brings 4 points home, but it's SLR Quattro with the fastest lap and the race win from pole position. It's the perfect performance from the AlphaTauri driver, and without even going to the votes in the Discord server, it's a well-deserved driver of the day from the AlphaTauri driver. The man from Netherlands on the podium with the Irishman and the Brit as they celebrate a podium that they will remember forever, especially Quattro, who wins his first race in the Racing Super League. So it is Quattro who finished with 56 minutes. That's an hour of a race, a very hard race, but the Dutchman wins the race with the fastest lap as well. Owen Curry in P2, his first podium. SJR is going to just be happy enough to take the podium as well. Possibly could get by Owen Curry if he is penalised. Douglas P4, Lucas Paul P5. Pigster in 6th with Jackie Gabbana 7th. Techno Sizzle 8th with Ski Fan in 9th. Arix Paolo in 10th. Back 2 in 11th. Kofi in 12th. Turkey Boy 13th. Harrison 14th. Big Loudy 15th. Patishon 16th. And Vax 17th with Lazy Bones not starting. It's a crazy race. We hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did. And we will see you on Wednesday. I don't think it'll be me commentating, but it will be a stream nonetheless. We'll see you then, and good night.